Hello and welcome to Totally Bonkers Guinness World Records Bonkingly Big Hits. In this special extended show, we've logged on to Her Majesty's Internet to find the top 30 most popular Guinness World Records as watched by you. And over the next hour, we'll be counting down the very best. Coming up, we have dangerous motorcycle jumping, dangerous under-ice swimming, and a dangerous piece of fruit. There's kids with talent and kids with spiders on them, as we discover what is the #1 most watched Guinness World Record of all time. But first... Look, it's like the opening titles of Friends, but instead of the cast twirling umbrellas, we've got this guy wielding nunchucks in his pyjamas. Yes, we begin our countdown at number 30 with Kevin Shelley, a martial arts master and champion goatee wearer, who's hoping his record attempt doesn't go down the pan. Or should that be pans? You see, today, Kevin will mostly be doing this.
2, 1, go!
That's right, he's breaking extremely low-quality toilet seats using his head, and he's aiming to beat his current record of 46 in a minute. Now, we've all had some painful moments on the toilet in our time, but this looks pretty bad, doesn't it? His forehead is actually bleeding. On the bright side, the resulting scar will make attending fancy dress parties as Harry Potter an absolute doddle. Time's up, and Kevin's not the only one in pain. It was all so exciting, one poor lady in the audience appears to have a nosebleed. Thankfully for Kevin, they found an ice pack, which perfectly accessorises his outfit. He would hate to look silly. But the question is, how did he do? As you can see, he put his heart, soul, and face into the record attempt. But is it enough?
I'm really sorry.
I'll take that as a no. Yes, sadly, Kevin only managed to smash 44 toilet seats in a minute. But will he ever get back on the saddle, so to speak?
I'll just have to try again someday.
Yes, he will. Can someone please get him a face wipe? We're off to Spain now for number 29, where they've laid on the red carpet and office chair treatment for 3 women, trying to beat the record for the most eggs crushed with toes in 30 seconds. A feat, and indeed some feat, that have got over 1 million views online. Right, let's get cracking. Huh? Cracking? Huh? The eggs. Oh, forget it. Our first competitor has managed just 10 eggs. Can the next one do any better? Now this is more like it. She's crushing eggs like a professional. Not that there are professional egg toe crushers. It's an activity purely for hobbyists. She has managed 22 eggs, but can 22 eggs be beaten? The answer is yes, but you would need an awfully big whisk. It's time for the final competitor. I just feel sorry for the 2 ladies in red. They dreamed of being Wimbledon ball girls, and they've ended up doing this. And she's done it! 23 eggs. She does seem a little shy about her achievement. Don't worry, I'm sure they won't make too much of a fuss. Just a medal on a fenced-off podium, surrounded by people. Well done! Number 28 now, and it's a challenge from Japan. That bloke up top there is our challenger, and he's such a diva that he refuses to walk anywhere. Compulsory check for head lice before we begin, and yeah, he's clear. This is Sun Chi-jong, who'll be attempting to break the world record for the most stairs climbed using just his head. As this graphic shows, Sun has got to wear a purple morph suit and hop up some steps. What could possibly go wrong? Oh dear. He's off, and as you can see, he's ditched the purple onesie in favour of a more tasteful orange outfit. This guy is quite the rule breaker. There is so much tension in the room, you could hear a pin drop. Told you. He's just passed the current record of 11 steps. But our man Sun is going to see if he can go all the way to 15. Now, I've got to say, this doesn't look terribly comfortable, but I know what he's going through. I once did a headstand in a multi-storey car park lift, which achieved a similar result. And he's done it! Congratulations! Someone give him a hug. Celebratory fist pumps all round. At 27, it's down under for something hot.
This time Andrew has 30 seconds to drink as much original Tabasco pepper sauce as he possibly can directly from the bottle.
This guy is double cray. I think we need to consult a doctor.
Well, chili's basically got a substance in it that does have a type of burning effect, but he should be fine.
7 years at medical school, well spent. Right, here we go.
Fantastic. On my count. 3, 2, 1, he's away.
He's dived straight in and is glugging sauce from that tiny bottle as if his life depended upon it. Some lovely eyebrow work.
20. He was disappointed with the
And the first bottle is emptied.
15.
Look at the terror in his eyes. He's like an innocent lamb who's feeding from his mother's teat, only to then discover she's got a 2-bottle-a-day Tabasco habit.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Your eyes aren't even watering. That's the thing that amazes me.
He's crying on the
I'm very
inside.
happy to say that at 120 mils of Tabasco in 30 seconds, we have a new Guinness World Record.
Congratulations!
So he's got the record, but they've not got anything left to drizzle over their dinner. They've really not thought this one through, have they? It's time for 26 now, and some highlights. Blonde highlights. Hang on, we can't really see them properly. That's better. If you've got it, flaunt it. This is the UK's very own John Farnworth. So, what's he going to do?
What is that?
It's around the world tricks in 1 minute. I'll show you around the world.
好，就是 around the world.
Yes, John has spent a lot of time fiddling about with balls, and it's made him a footy marvel. He's in China to see how many of these around-the-world moves he can do in a minute. So, will someone please bang a very small gong and get this thing started?
1, go.
Off he goes. Watching this incredibly skillful, well-timed and precise performance reminds me that I need to put a whitewash on.
15.
Last few seconds now, and it looks like John's leg may be getting a bit tired. And one more for luck. So, how did he do?
Last the record.
Okay.
How many of them?
The last record, the current record is 81.
上一次的记录是81个1分钟。And right now?
Tonight, John did Bashi San.
Hang on a second, let me just pop Bashi's son into my online translator. Right, he's either just won a lifetime supply of microwavable pancakes, or he's broken the record with 83. Thankfully, the medal says it all, and the world record is John's. Still to come on our countdown of the top 30 bonkingly big online hits as viewed by you. He's walking in the air. He's really annoyed that he can't find an apple. And he's going to need an ambulance. Welcome back to our countdown of the 30 most popular Guinness World Records. And at 25, it's this man, Charlie Bell, who has a liking for something rather slimy, slippery, and adored by birds. And I'm not talking about Steve Jones.
Sir's order is ready.
I'm talking about maggots, and Charlie has got an hour to move these little wrigglers from one container to another with his mouth.
The record to stand needs a minimum of 15 kilograms of live maggots to be transferred into the new container.
Good luck.
You kind of backing out of this yet?
I'm a bit apprehensive, but it's better than my wife's cooking, so I'll give it a go.
To be fair, he's got a point. His wife once served me a piece of slightly soggy croque-en-bouche. I was appalled. Now, this may be disgusting, but it's the sort of incredible record that deserves to be seen, centre stage, for everyone to witness. Oh, they're dragging him backstage. Who says show business isn't glamorous, eh? Time's running out for Charlie now. Just room for a few more mouthfuls of maggots.
We've got about 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
But the question everyone is asking is...
Do you puke at all?
No, not that. I was going to ask if he'd broken the record. But each their own, eh, Connie? Let's get the results, shall we?
And tell us how he's done.
The record to beat was 15, and he did an amazing 17 kilos.
Good work, Charlie. You're a Guinness World Record holder. Finally, the sweet smell of success.
Oh my gosh, you sting, but congratulations.
Maybe not. In at 24, it's the rather remarkable Pruganon family from the USA, who like to introduce themselves as if they're a boy band.
My name is Stephen Pruganon.
I'm Andrew Pruganon.
Hi, my name is Brian Pruganon.
And we are all sports actors.
This is sport stacking, and if you think this looks impressive, you should see him load a dishwasher. Now, it might look simple, but it's not as easy as it seems, especially if you've just had your nails done. You know you're making a poor effort of it when you're being pitied by a child. Now, the brothers have all held sport stacking world records together, but it's Stephen who's the real genius of the family and clearly the recipient of some XXL t-shirt hand-me-downs. He's held the world record in 5 different events and frankly can stack those plastic cups faster than any other human being on Earth. On to record number 23, which by the looks of it you'd think is the record for carelessly knocking over traffic cones with a car. Looks like extreme temp in bowling. This is Peter Bell of New Zealand, a stunt driver and slow-motion walker. He's going to attempt the record for the tightest parallel parking. Now, it currently stands at a mere 32 centimetres, but this guy's got his technique all worked out.
It's all about timing and hitting your mark. As I'm coming in, I have to have my line, I've got to turn it at the right time, and as it's coming around, I've got to apply the handbrake at the right time and let it break away and then guide it into that space.
Sounds like a doddle. And there's national pride at stake.
Can we take this classic Guinness World Record away from China?
Let's go, mate.
Come on, mate.
2 seconds flat.
He's in.
Oh, look at that. That is brilliant. You don't even need your measuring tape there.
That is closer than a cat's whisker, one of the official units of measurement used in New Zealand. And by the looks of it, it's legal. Is it good enough, though? The checks have been done. Let's get the verdict.
So the record he wanted to break was 32 centimetres, so he had to be less than 32 centimetres.
Yeah.
He's come in at exactly 31 centimetres for a new Guinness World Record.
Brilliant! Well done, mate. Oh, we've done it. We've taken it off China.
Congratulations! He's got himself a record and the warm embrace of a gentleman.
In the world, I mean, this is no mean feat. Parallel parking for a start is
This probably isn't a good time to point out that there were loads of other car parking spaces available, is it?
A millimetre at the front and plenty of space at the back. Surely you're going to have to have a crack at shortening it up.
Oh, well, now that we've got the record, we'll start making it tighter.
Yes, you heard it. Peter's not done yet. He's trying to break the record again and make the gap between him and his competitors even bigger. Well, actually smaller, but you know what I mean.
Important one.
I do hope he's remembered to pay and display. It looks pretty good, but is it good enough?
17 centimetres there.
17 there, 17 at the back.
So,
17 and 11.
the record...
Now tell me, what's the most premature raising of both arms you've ever seen?
And he's just measured exactly 27 centimetres.
27, that's a first.
Yes, Peter's managed to shave 5 centimetres off his own record. It's a strong performance, but will it stand the test of time? We'll find out later in the show.
Well done.
So I think you can safely assume that it probably won't.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Off we go to Sweden for number 22 now, and a man who's gone bananas about... yeah, you get the idea. Michael Ottosson is going to attempt the record for the most bananas snapped in 1 minute. And it's not as easy as it looks, if you're an old lady. There's just time for a quick run-through of the rules from the guy from Monopoly. He's basically saying that the bananas have to be cleanly snapped in half to count, he's got 1 minute to do as many as he can, and that he can't pass go and collect £200.
Du är redo?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, bryt!
Michael is off to a very strong start. This guy is mesmerised. He is making such light work of snapping those bananas, you'd almost think they were just soft pieces of fruit. As the time ticks away, it's worth pointing out for those of you who are confused that the action here is taking place in a television studio and not the actual Greek Acropolis. It's just a very expensive and authentic set. After a quick comparison of Angry Birds scores, it's confirmed that Michael has done it. 70 bananas snapped and a new record. Careful not to slip up. In at 21, we've got a couple of high flyers for you.
Guinness World Record for the longest motorcycle ramp jump. 2 mates facing off tonight, Trigger Gum and Larry Linkogel. The record to beat is 77 metres. These guys are going to fly.
Yes, they are. First up, it's Californian Larry Linkogel on a 250cc bike, effectively a moped. He's trying to equal the current record of 253 feet. So, here goes. That's certainly one way to avoid the traffic, and it's a perfect landing. Trigger goes next on his 500cc.
He does it!
And nails it.
These two guys, Larry and Trigger, they have equalled the record, and they've...
I do hope they're not going to try and do the jump in that. I think they're just moving the ramp back another 10 feet.
Insane. One of the guys said, I'm going to keep going until either my bike breaks or I break. I hope we don't see that here tonight.
Oh, I do love a dangerous ultimatum. So here we go for round 2. It's a good landing for Larry, and despite them trying to distract Trigger with pyrotechnics, he makes a graceful descent.
Stop these boys, they're mad!
Actually, they can be stopped. Larry has sadly forgotten to set his TV recorder for TOWIE, so he's made a swift exit, leaving Trigger on his 500cc beast to go for the record on his own. I am not an expert, but this jump has everything. Height, distance, grace, power, control, and whatever else you might actually look for in a jump.
I landed so hard, every bone in my body cracked. I think I bent my subframe. I almost came off. It was just a ride all the way down.
It sounds like a lovely day out. The measuring tape is out and the record is confirmed at 277.2 feet.
I'm just proud to do I've done it.
Well, congratulations, Trigger. You are in the book for the longest motorcycle ramp jump. Well done.
Thank you.
And Trigger's happy. At 20, it's off to Spain, and two men who are not letting their receding hairlines stop them rocking some pretty cutting-edge styles. I'm fairly confident the guy on the left invented Wheatos. But it's not them breaking a record, it's tiara-wearing American Jodie Parks. She looks like royalty, albeit very distant royalty, on a hen night. I wonder what she's going to do. Perhaps she'll sing, maybe she'll recite some poetry, possibly even some Shakespeare. I do not remember this scene in Romeo and Juliet. Yes, she's breaking the record for the loudest burp by a female, recorded at an amazing 104.75 decibels. I think it may be time to call an exorcist. She may not be able to hold down her dinner, but she can hold down a Guinness World Record. Time for number 19, and the guy on the right is clearly winning the staring competition. Meet Canadian beefcake Dominic Lacasse and German Black Forest Gatto Peter Nicky Farou, who has a pretty novel way of hailing a bus. These two hunks are going head-to-head as they attempt to maintain the longest time spent as a human flag. In other words, how long can they hold onto a flagpole with just their arms? Now, they may be in stiff competition with each other, but they've matched their outfits perfectly, like a muscly Jedward. Hang on a second, Peter. What are you doing? Don't take your top off. You're ruining the whole matching blue and white outfit thing. Although, she doesn't seem to mind. Here we go, then. Peter's off, and it's an impressive start. Ooh, nice tattoo. I must say, this is the worst choreographed pole dance I have ever seen. And he's down after 14 seconds for a quick look at his own abs. But he doesn't seem happy with his performance. So, it's Dominic's turn now. Can he beat Peter's time? As you can see, he's gone topless as well. Little bit unnecessary if you ask me. Some of us like to keep our muscles to ourselves. Got himself a matching tattoo there. It's a bit embarrassing. He is deep in concentration. He's probably thinking about how much laser tattoo removal costs these days. And he's down. He has taken the record with an amazing 39 seconds, and I'm glad to see the woman with the certificate got the memo about the blue and white colour scheme. Well done, Dominic. You can pop your top back on now. In at number 18 on our countdown, the enormous Finn Juha Räsänen, who's here to show off his strength, but not before he's told us the name of his favourite All Saints single.
Never ever.
No, nunca.
Never ever. Never ever.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Seguro?
Okay.
Ah, he's gone for Never Ever. A good choice. I'd have gone for Pure Shores, but each their own. Today, Juha is attempting the record for the furthest distance throw of a person. The rules are very clear on this. The person being thrown must weigh at least 60 kilograms, and more importantly, they must have very low self-esteem. So here we go, Juha adopting the classic discus throwers pose, while the guy being thrown is adopting the classic "help, I've just been given a wedgie" pose. It's a good spin. And a very graceful landing there. It's a great first throw at 4.15 metres, which has actually beaten the current record of 3.87. But Juha is not done yet. He's decided to go again. The poor guy being thrown isn't entirely sure a second go was in his contract, but let's face it, none of us are going to mess with Juha. Right then, here we go. Oh, it looks good, and he's landed like a fleshy javelin at a distance of 4 metres 35. Now, they say that bad luck comes in threes, so the future isn't looking rosy for the guy being thrown, but it's good news for Juha, who is hungry to break that 5-metre barrier, and also probably quite peckish for a protein shake. Time for some words of encouragement for the guy in the helmet. I'm sure that's made him feel much better. It's at times like this I imagine he wishes he'd paid more attention in school. It is an impressive throw and a terrific landing, which means that Juha has done it. 5 metres 40 centimetres. There is only one suitable way of reacting to such an impressive record-breaking moment like that. And that isn't it. Number 17 now, and time for something a bit more highbrow, I think.
Tonight we are trying to break the record for most bars being removed single-handed in 1 minute.
I think she actually means bras, and that's not quite what I had in mind. Anyway, this guy is a magician called Chris Nicholson, and he's going to try and unhook the bras of 20 women in a minute through their T-shirts without getting arrested.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, well, this must be every bloke's dream. First of all, you've got to find 20 women.
And there they are, hiding their faces due to the shame. This activity was just described as every bloke's dream, and let's be honest, we've all had a wild fantasy in which we awkwardly unclasped some bras through a T-shirt against the clock, haven't we? No wonder it was such a hit online. Lord only knows how Chris practiced this. I can only assume there were some rather surprised ladies in the queue at the post office.
Could get there.
He's almost there.
Needs one more. Needs 20.
He's done it!
Chris is a Guinness World Record holder. He's looking a little sweaty. I'm sure it's just the studio lights.
Anywhere near.
It wasn't going so great. I feel very happy, very happy.
Good work, Chris. Can someone please get him a very cold shower? We're off to the Arctic Circle for number 16, where a man is going to attempt to swim under the ice for 100 metres. The ice is 2 feet thick, so they need to cut holes in it for Dutchman Wim Hof to attempt a record he already currently holds at 50 metres. Yes, basic maths fans, that means today Wim is going to try and double his record. Now, a lot of people would think he's absolutely crazy for wearing those trunks, but he's certainly been putting in the hours, even pulling a few yoga moves in his freezer at home, which reminds me I must defrost that chicken for my tea.
Phenomenally cold. It's -12. The first question that everybody will want to know is why? Why are you going to do this?
Because I'm ready.
That's vague enough for me. Athletes normally save their ice bath until after the event, but not Wim. He's straight in and ready to go. And he's off. He's now got to swim for as long as he can under the ice. Now, it's very important that he doesn't get distracted whilst he's swimming, say by having a load of bubbles blown into his face as he swims. Oh, for goodness sake. This is ridiculously hard, even for Wim, so if you do have easy access to the Arctic tundra, please don't try this yourself. Wim's now been swimming for over a minute under the ice, but he wants out. And as he nears the escape hole at 57 metres, Wim's starting to struggle. He just about pulls himself onto the ice, but the crew are understandably concerned. But it turns out Wim's pretty relaxed about it all.
It's like the moments before you die. Peaceful.
Really?
The last 10 meters were peaceful.
And it's given Wim a new Guinness World Record. I think I'll probably stick to a bit of doggy paddle at the shallow end of my local pool for now. Still to come, we're closing in on the top spot with someone very tall, someone very stretchy, and someone who's going to need a plaster. Ow! Welcome back. We're halfway through our countdown of the most popular Guinness World Records of all time as viewed by you online. And for number 15, we're heading back down under for the longest throw of an object. Aussie David Shummy, seen here dressed as one of your uncles on his holidays, is attempting to break the current record of 406.29 metres by hurling a boomerang as far as he can. And he's gone for a boomerang. Surely the last thing you want is for it to come back.
It's more than 4 football fields end on end. And usually I'm trying to get the boomerang to come back. So I have to use unconventional techniques. Boomerangs have a habit of knowing what you feel about them.
He's right, you know. I once fell madly in love with a boomerang, and it just knew. It was quite awkward for both of us. Oh, it's a good throw.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
David's words of encouragement are sure to be helping. Thankfully, they've chosen a big, empty area with no obstacles in to do this.
Come on! It's in the tree.
Oh, dear. But thankfully, it still counts. And here comes the adjudicator, dressed for the sunshine, to measure the distance.
427.2 metres. Congratulations.
21 metres more!
He smashed it. At 14, it's two demons of the BMX world who are going head-to-head for the highest ramp jump record. In one corner, Spaniard Jesus Fuentos, and in the other corner, it's Timo Pritzl of Germany. And even the Spanish Simon Cowell has shown up on the right there to watch. Jesus and Timo are both aiming to clear 5.12 metres, which would give them the record. Jesus is up first. And that jump was so good that fans have gone to a lot of effort making him a poster. A lot of effort indeed. Timo's up next. And he's over as well, which calls for a sporting handshake and an awkward half hug. So with a record beaten, they're now both going for 5.13 metres. Jesus is up first. Now last time he lightly touched the bar as he went over. But that is full-on heavy petting and doesn't count. Timo's up now. And he makes it over, but gets off his bike mid-air, which means he's disqualified and almost denied the opportunity to have children. Another chance for Jesus. And again he clips it. So it's all down to Timo. Off he goes. Oh, almost, but he's made the same error as Jesus, which means that in the spirit of European unity, Timo and Jesus will share the record as presented by Spanish Simon. How nice. Over to Germany now for number 13, and a man with exceptional hair who likes playing the violin in dimly lit rooms. David Garrett is attempting to become the world's fastest violin player by performing Flight of the Bumblebee like a man possessed. Now, looking at it, that studio is probably a bit too well lit for David to be fully comfortable. Much better.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And he's even counted himself in. I do like a multitasker. Now, the current record stands at 1 minute, 6.56 seconds. This record attempt has drawn quite a crowd behind David, and you can see why. It really is the best angle from which to see his ponytail in all its glory. With a bit of a flourish, David's done it! And as violin royalty, he has his own special wave, like the Queen. He was a second and a half ahead of the old record, which means he's become the fastest fiddler in the world and is the recipient of a well-deserved sitting ovation. In at 12, Ian Wright is warming up our next competitor with a bit of friendly chit-chat.
A very, very big neck. Well, the neck is massive, in fact.
I've got strong banter. But John Evans will be putting that neck to good use, as it'll be helping him balance something pretty heavy.
He's going to balance on his head. It's not a fridge, it's not a cooker, it's not even a motorbike. Here it is.
Thank goodness he stopped listing things it isn't. We'd have been here all day. It's a Mini.
Seeing somebody with a Mini on their head would make you look and say, there's a guy with a Mini on his head.
Insightful as ever.
I don't think I'll be that strong. If something should go wrong with it, it happens that quick, that fast, as you can imagine. You lose the balance and you've lost everything.
You just get squashed.
Like a frog.
I must stress again that you should never try and balance a car on your head.
Otherwise, you could end up on a TV show having your neck insulted by Ian Wright. To the record then, John has got to balance the car on his head for 10 seconds without the aid of his hands. Oh, here goes, the mini's up. But John does have to take his hands off first. And we're off. He's actually making this look rather easy. I suspect it isn't.
7, 8, 9, 10.
He's done it! You can put the car back now, John. John? John?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Finally, John has called time on it after an impressive 33 seconds, giving him the record.
Whoa!
Good work. Well done, John. And more importantly, well done, Ian.
You say I want further trouble.
If you thought John looked sweaty, check these guys out. At number 11, Tommy Bonds of America's Beale Street Flippers is looking to break the record for the longest backflip, so goodness only knows why they're playing basketball.
We will 100% break this Guinness record.
A nice understated entrance to kick things off. He always enters a room like this, which does make him very awkward company at a funeral. Tommy is trying to beat the current record of 3 metres 11 centimetres, and by the looks of it, he's also hoping to break the record for the world's longest shorts. He'll be hurling himself over this lot. So, without further ado, he's off. Oh, it looks good to me. But what do I know? The only thing I've ever attempted to flip over is a pancake, and even that was unsuccessful. Let's get the word from the actual professional, shall we?
3 metres 75 centimetres.
He smashed it, which means he can start practicing for his next record for the quickest succession of low fives. And now we enter the hallowed top 10, the ones you viewed the most online. And at number 10, it's Sultan Kosan from Turkey. And yes, you've guessed it, he's the tallest living man in the world, measuring in at an incredible 8 foot 3 inches. No wonder he's walking instead of taking the tube. But how does a man get to grow so tall? Here's a doctor to explain.
He has a pituitary tumour, secreting a hormone called growth hormone. Not a very common condition, and it usually happens in adulthood. But of course, as you can imagine, it causes growth, and therefore if it happens at a young age, then the child grows much taller than he or she should, and as a consequence they become giants.
Being different is something that I live with, but I enjoy the attention.
They've deliberately tried to make him look as tall as Big Ben there, haven't they? Sultan is the first man over 8 foot to come to the attention of Guinness World Records in 20 years. And he's so tall, he even makes these fully grown adults look like children. At number 9, we head off to China for a nice relaxing lie down. Honestly, some people are just lazy, aren't they? How on earth did this get well over 3 million hits? Ah, that costume explains it. Today, Brit Rebecca Peach, who's wearing so little clothing she's having to use her hands to protect her modesty, and her ripped dance partner, Donovan Jones, are trying to break the record for the most rotations of a human flag. Rebecca will cling onto that rope with just one hand, while Donovan swings it around like a crazed bloke in stupid trousers. They've got 30 seconds to do as many rotations as possible, and the time begins when the tiny gong is struck.
R-E, go!
Donovan is handling that rope with the concentration and energy of a man who's lost control of a high-pressure hosepipe. As a safety measure, they've padded the studio floor with poinsettias.
Yeah!
OK, 30 seconds is up, so it's time to get the verdict.
That's fantastic. We had 40 rotations in 30 seconds. It's C-sure.
She may be shocked, but I never doubted them. With 40 rotations in 30 seconds, Rebecca has a Guinness World Record and presumably quite a sore arm, which allows me to use the seamless and timeless segue. Talking of which... In at number 8 with 4 million online views, it's a man who's put very little effort into his Peter Pan costume.
Gary, turn everybody!
Gary has a rare medical condition, which means that his skin is basically one big elastic band, as Ian Wright will demonstrate here. Gary is so stretchy, he sometimes actually uses himself as a throw for his 3-seater sofa. Show us another, Gary. And that, viewers, is what Ian Wright considers family entertainment.
Tie around your belly.
People usually ask me, can I do it all over my body?
Do you want to see it? Well, you can't.
He is such a tease.
You can do, Gary, that really, like, freaks people out completely.
Yeah, there is one. It's probably the double chin.
Wait a minute.
Oh, that is pretty unusual, and it's rendered Ian Wright completely speechless. And for that, I thank you, Gary. And number 7 is one of those records that is extremely hard, in the Mitchell brothers sense of the word, as Anthony Kelly of Australia prepares to punch his way into the record books.
I'm going to attempt a brand new Guinness World Record, the most martial arts punches thrown in 1 minute.
Okay.
It's a big challenge, and Anthony's psyching himself up.
2, 1, go.
He's going to try and set the record at over 100 punches. The gentleman in the background there is clearly having a lovely time.
Off to a walker's start. Plenty of applause.
I imagine the people going online to watch this record were expecting some hardcore punching, not what appears to be the classic 1960s dance, the monkey.
Away home now.
But as time ticks away, he's slowing down a bit and looking tired. So, has he done enough?
3, 2, 1.
Well, it was certainly a pacey performance, so the adjudicator watches a slow-mo replay to check the punches all landed. It's like a really unexciting montage from Rocky.
And the result?
Oh, Grant, I'm exhausted just pressing the clicker. He was aiming at 100. The new Guinness World Record is 347 punches.
He's set a new world record. Someone give him a pat on the back. Not too hard, though, because he will take you down. Well done, Anthony. If number 6 confirms anything, it's that you lot love parallel parking. Who can blame you? You're only human. It's Tanya DeVent with stuntman and international sunglasses ambassador Ronnie C. Rock attempting the tightest parallel park. Everyone's obviously very nervous about it, which probably explains the skid marks. So to reiterate, there are 2 rules. You can't hit the other cars, and you have to be within 30 centimetres of the white line on the curb. The current record stands at just 27 centimetres of total space left on either side of the car. And first up to attempt the record, it's Tanya. This is Tanya's chance to prove to cynical and chauvinistic men everywhere that women can park just as well as the opposite sex. Yeah, it's a little bit out. OK, it's Ronnie's turn now, and the gloves are off, as are his sunglasses, which is probably wise, as it's getting dark out there. Here he goes. Wow, that is incredibly close. Let's take another look. If I was a driving test examiner and someone parked like that during their test, I would give them a major high five. Congratulations are in order, because that is a new record for Ronnie at 26 centimetres. As for Tanya, well, she was allowed another attempt, but probably best not to go into that. And there goes the no-claims bonus. After the break, it's top 5 time, with, yes, more parking, some very fast thumbs, some very creepy crawlies, and we discover what makes it to the all-important number 1. Welcome back to our countdown of the top 30 most popular Guinness World Records of all time, as viewed by you lot on the internet. And would you believe it, it's another parallel parking record. This time, one of our own. Our next contender is Russ Swift from Darlington, who's been at it for years. So, at number 5, let's go back in time like a not very ambitious time traveller to see his record attempt. It may have been a drizzly day in a car park near Leicester, but at least... no, can't think of any positives. But there was a suitably dramatic voiceover artist present to ramp up the tension.
It's now raining steadily, and Russ knows that his time is running out. He's got to go for the record now.
Told you.
He approaches at 30 miles an hour.
Reckless speeds. And a great attempt. It looks like a good, clean entry, I'd say. What do you think, dramatic voiceover woman?
That looks good. A clean entry.
I just said
but there are anxious faces as the adjudicators confirm the precise clearance. Just look how close they are.
Quite close. It's a good effort, though, and one that got Russ into the record books.
But I'm really pleased to break it now, and I think this record will stand for a long time.
He obviously wasn't watching before the break. Awkward. Back to Australia now for the 4th most popular Guinness World Record, and to an age before smartphones. It's the record for fastest text message. This guy, James Trussler, was the holder, but his crown was claimed by another, so he's here to win it back. It's like a story from a movie that's been released straight onto DVD.
You're a self-confessed textaholic. How many do you send a month?
Probably about 2,000 a month, but I can peak to about 4,000.
His mum must never be off her phone reading all of them. So what does he have to text?
The razor-toothed piranhas of the genera Cerosalmus and the Pygocentris are the most ferocious freshwater fish in the world. In reality, they seldom attack a human. That's a mouthful to say.
I've got that one saved in my drafts already. I'd storm this record.
It's not going to be easy. We got a couple of uppercases in there. There's a hyphen, some full stops and some tough words. So you've got everything in there.
OK, so here are the rules.
He simply needs to type in the text we just saw as quickly as possible with no mistakes whatsoever. So all punctuation and spelling must be absolutely correct. 3, 2, 1, go.
He's off. Yes, viewers, you are watching a man writing a text to absolutely no one. We've peaked.
But he had to get those 26 words out in under 43.2 seconds.
And unfortunately, it still stands. That was 51.3 seconds.
So close, so close.
Not that close. Number 3 now, and it's the second tallest man on our list, Ji Shun from China. He's the one on the right dressed as a wizard. He's 7 foot 8.95 inches, and if you're struggling to gauge how tall that is, then as you can see, he's taller than a cameraman and smaller than Big Ben. At number 2, we're in Australia for something creepy and crawly. Unfortunately, the budget didn't stretch to Spider-Man, though.
He goes by the moniker Spider Boy. Would you please give a huge round of applause to Tom Buchanan?
Well, he's certainly a boy. Not convinced about the whole spider thing, though.
Right, mate. Now, I guess the name says it all. Yep. But what record are you going for tonight?
Getting in a box with 125 spiders for 30 seconds or more.
And are they poisonous?
No, luckily.
Right, but they may bite, or they do bite a little bit?
They can bite and they will cause a little bit of swelling, but not poisonous at all.
We've got paramedics standing by.
Despite the fact that he's just told us they're not poisonous. Still, a bit of overtime, isn't it?
She likes the idea.
So what does he actually have to do to get himself a Guinness World Record here tonight?
OK, as far as the guidelines goes, Tom can only wear shorts and must lie on his back in this Perspex box. He will then have at
So it's
least
not enough for Tom to be in a box with 125 spiders. He appears to have to do it half naked. Give the kid a break.
Spiders for 30 seconds.
Right, we're off. In go the spiders. And Tom seems to be holding up OK so far.
He loves it. And look at him, he's smiling.
This is like all the worst bits of a Bush Tucker trial. But on the plus side, he doesn't have to live in a jungle with Sunita and Pat Sharp. With almost 7.5 million hits, this is unbelievably popular. There's obviously a lot of spider fans out there.
Let's get our spider anglers in there.
Thank goodness for that. Someone give him back his silk kimono.
Let's give Tom another huge round of applause. How did you feel in there? What was it like?
Oh, tickling.
Tom looks pleased with his efforts, and it's nice to see Sharon Osbourne popping in to congratulate Tom as well. He's clearly a fan.
Well, let's find out if you've got yourself a Guinness World Record, Spider Boy. What do you think, Chris?
He actually set a new record with 125 spiders.
Oh, fantastic work, Tom.
Kudos to Tom for that effort, and well done to all the spiders, who were each given a miniature medal and certificate.
How can you top that? Well, the answer is you probably can't.
Excuse me, but I think you'll find we can actually. Because we're now at the end of our countdown. We've seen everything our weird and wonderful world can throw at us, from snapping bananas in half to snapping toilet seats in half. From frantic fiddling to furious rope twirling. And, of course, a very odd bloke with maggots in his mouth. Why not? We have seen it all, but the question is, what record have you lot watched more online than any other? That is the incorrect answer. Now, we all know the human body can come in all shapes and sizes, from the very tall to the very short, from the very big to the very small, and everything in between. But at number 1 is a woman who towers above all other female record holders. Svetlana Pankratova of Russia is the very proud owner of some very long legs. She's not actually the tallest woman in the world, but her legs are almost 2/3 of her entire body, meaning that she is the Guinness World Record holder for the longest legs. Trust the users of the internet to watch this one the most, eh? In fact, Svetlana's legs are so long, they don't even fit on a sun lounger.
My name is Svetlana Pankratova, and I'm holding the record of the longest legs in the world, measured at 132 centimeters.
Or for the traditionalists amongst us, that's 4 foot 4 inches.
Sometimes I do get compliments somewhere in the street, which is nice. Sometimes people make pretty stupid comments about my height.
She certainly is a head-turner. Look at the attention she gets when she just nips out for a walk in Trafalgar Square with He Ping Ping, at the time the world's shortest man. Whatever you do, don't look up, you will get arrested. But how does Svetlana feel about her towering fame?
Makes me feel very special. Makes me feel like a queen of the longest legs.
And with an incredible 13.5 million views online, Svetlana's legs are head and shoulders above the competition, making her our #1 Guinness World Record holder tonight. Well done. I bet they take ages to shave them.
Cheers, Matt. So then, in case you've missed what's been going on in Essex lately, or you just want to relive the wonders of Joey's birthday and Gemma's big surprise in all its glory again, it's your Towie catch-up tomorrow night at 5 to 11. We're keeping up with Gordon next tonight, though. It's a Hell's Kitchen USA double bill.